Units of the Syrian Arab Army took full control of Handarat in Aleppo. Dozens of ISIL terrorists were killed and their weapons destroyed in al-Anbar province as the Iraqi army foiled the suicide attack north of Baghdad. The Likud party wins parliamentary elections and announces the continuation of settlement policy in the occupied territories. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Irado Krikorian with the news in English. We start our bulletin with the news on the ground from Aleppo. A Syrian Arab Army unit has maintained full control over Handarat district after eliminating terrorists there, as well as in Al-Mallah farms, the surroundings of Tal al-Matafa, Kafar Hamra and west of Al-Nairab airport. In Homs, the Syrian Arab Army units destroyed terrorist hideouts west of Al-Rastan and Shalboun Square in Al-Rastan, killing ISIL terrorists in Jubab Hamad and Rahum in Homs eastern suburb. In Dar'a countryside, the Syrian Arab Army unit carried out an operation on Dar'a Kharab al-Shahm road, leaving many ISIL members dead and destroying their weapons and ammunition-loaded vehicles. Other armed men have also been killed or wounded south of Bilal al-Habashi Mosque and Al-Ghariya al-Gharbiya village. A Syrian Arab Army unit has furthermore pursued terrorists in Kafar Nasaj and eliminated others who belonged to Jabhat al-Nusra. Iraqi army continued its operation to clear Al-Karma district in Al-Anbar province from ISIL terrorists, eliminating 31 gunmen and destroying their vehicles. The army also foiled a suicide car attack near Al-Shiha, killing one terrorist before he was able to blow up the car. Meanwhile, army troops supported by the warplanes eliminated 39 terrorists in Abu al-Ghanim, Al-Shihabi and Al-Saqlawiya, including 2 wanted terrorist leaders in Al-Fallujah. The army also foiled an attempt by 3 terrorists who tried to break into At-Tarmiya town north of Baghdad. 3 Iraqis were killed and scores injured during a terrorist attack by a truck loaded with explosives in Al-Basra governorate. Iraqi Foreign Minister Ibrahim Ja'fari discusses with his Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov ways of combating terrorism in the Middle East and the situation in Syria and Iraq, according to the Russian Foreign Ministry's declaration. Ja'fari and Lavrov will also discuss ways of enhancing bilateral relations in all fields in addition to regional and international issues. The Russian Foreign Ministry underlined the need to raise the level of cooperation between the two countries regarding the changes in the area and ways of confronting extremist forces in cooperation with all regional states endangered by terrorism. After talk by American officials about a long war that would take years against ISIL terrorist organization, Australia warned that the battle against ISIL would take a whole generation, considering it as a battle against principle and ideology. The new Australian stand has been expressed by the country's foreign minister, Julie Bishop, in a word she delivered in Canberra. She stressed that what is happening in several parts of the world is not a conflict that would end with a military victory on the battlefield, but a conflict against malicious ideas. We have no choice but to be part of the battle against terrorism in all its forms, inside and outside the country, Bishop added. She called on her country to find ways to protect the weak from the extremists' calls, which encourage attacks on Australian territories or drive them to die thoughtlessly. It is to be noted that the Australian government has declared the presence of 90 citizens, at least, of its citizens among the ranks of the terrorist organizations in Syria and Iraq. Welcome back. Following a series of racist statements by a number of Israeli officials against the Palestinians during the Knesset elections, the PLO said the Israelis have chosen racism as an option. The spokesman for the Palestinian presidency, Nabil Abu Rudaina, said the Palestinian Authority does not care who the next Israeli Prime Minister will be because the Palestinians want a government which acknowledges the two-state solution with East Jerusalem as its capital. The last exit polls have shown the Likud party, led by Netanyahu, winning with a slight margin against his rival Ishaq Herzog of the Labour Party. Finally, the Likud's victory in the Israeli elections opened the door wide in front of the Israeli settlers to escalate their aggression against the Palestinians. A group of settlers land in Wadi Hulwa neighborhood in Salwan town to the south of Al-Aqsa Mosque in occupied Jerusalem. Israeli settlers also demolished several houses for the Palestinians in the two villages of Mathoun and Al-Hadida east of Tubas town. Israeli forces of occupation also stormed the town of Yabid southwest of Jenin and raided the Palestinians' houses. In besieged Gaza Strip, Israeli occupation forces opened heavy gunfire on farmers east of El Breish camp. With this, to conclude our news for today. Thank you for watching. For more details about Syria and the region and to view this bulletin again, you can always visit our website in English, syriaonline.sy. Now to latest business and market news with Serena, but after a short break.
Good afternoon. The People's Assembly in its session held today under the chairmanship of Speaker Muhammad Jihad al-Laham listened to the answers of the Finance Minister on questions over the Ministry's measures to put an end to tax evasion. The Finance Minister, Dr. Ismail, also pointed out to the difficulties in limiting the smuggle of gold and food items from and into the neighboring countries due to the length of the borders and the inability to deploy enough customs officers, in addition to the hard situation during the current crisis in the country. The Finance Minister explained that all the investment plans which were included in the general plan of the budget were discussed by the Planning and International Cooperation Commission. Members of the Parliament called for implementing effective measures to protect the Syrian pound against the dollar. The total value of housing establishment projects reached over 42 billion Syrian pounds in all the governorates. However, the total value of the contracted projects for last year had exceeded 6.7 billion Syrian pounds in the governorates of Damascus countryside, Tartus and Latakia. Moreover, the establishment aims at completing the projects of the youth and workers' housing and the governmental program for public housing projects. The executive manager of Damascus Securities Exchange asserted that the DSA performance has improved over the past 6 years as an emerging market despite the hard conditions in the country. The manager also, during the 6th anniversary of the market, said that during these years the market has listed 24 companies with a total trading reached 26 billion Syrian pounds, while the investors' number reached 55,000 as their accounts hit 35,000. On the other hand, the total market value of the listed companies reached over 130 billion Syrian pounds. Brent crude fell towards 53 a barrel today, as U.S. crude stocks were forecast to have surged for the 10th straight week to a new record high, fueling supply concerns of a global oil glut, although a weaker dollar kept the floor under prices. European stocks rose in early trade today, bouncing after the previous session's pullback, led by a rally in the Inditex shares after the Spanish fashion giant reported a rise in 2014 profits. Investors also awaited the U.S. Federal Reserve's policy statement due after the European session for clues about when U.S. interest rates will rise. Gold dropped to near its lowest in more than 4 months today, reflecting caution ahead of the conclusion of Federal Reserve meeting that may stoke expectations for a mid-year hike in U.S. interest rates. The dollar fell for a second straight day yesterday, weighed down again by unexpectedly weak U.S. economic data as the Federal Reserve started a 2-day policy meeting. With this, we conclude our economic news for today. Thank you for watching and goodbye.